Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are cracking the code on something that's becoming a huge part of changing jobs, the Notice Period Buyout.
All right, picture this. You've just landed your absolute dream job. It's perfect, but there's a catch. A big one. Your current company has a 3-month notice period. So what do? This is a classic dilemma, right? It can feel like you're trapped, with that amazing opportunity at risk.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break it all down for you. First, we'll talk about the notice period trap. Then, we'll get into what a buyout actually is. After that, we've got the playbook, how to do it. We'll cover the tricky stuff like money, law, and taxes. And finally, we'll look at the bigger picture, the new rules of quitting.
All right, Section 1, the Notice Period Trap. And I love this subtitle, When Your Past Holds Your Future Hostage. That's exactly what it can feel like, isn't it? You know, a notice period is supposed to be about a smooth handover, but in today's fast-paced world, a long one can literally put your future on hold.
So that leads us straight into our second section. What is a buyout? This is your potential escape route from that professional limbo. It's the thing that's really changing the game for how people switch jobs.
Okay, so what is a buyout really? Let's break it down. A notice period buyout is basically a deal. You pay your employer an amount of money, usually what you'd earn during your notice period, so you can leave your job early. It's a straight-up trade, money for time.
And you know, people do this for all sorts of really good reasons. It's not just about being impatient. Maybe your new company needs you to start, like, yesterday. Or you're moving to a new city, or even a new country. It could be for school, a family emergency, or hey, maybe you're finally starting your own business. A buyout gives you that flexibility you need for real life.
All right, so now for the really practical stuff, the buyout playbook. Let's say you've decided this is the right move for you. How do you actually pull it off? Here is your step-by-step guide to making that clean exit.
It really boils down to 5 key steps. First, you've got to talk to HR. Make it a formal conversation about leaving early. Second, you calculate the cost. You need to know exactly what you'll owe. Third, you either pay up directly or have it taken out of your final paycheck. Step 4, and this is important. If your new job is footing the bill, you have to get them all the details. And finally, step 5. Do not forget this one. Collect your documents. Your relieving letter, your experience certificate. You need that proof. Follow these steps, and you're golden.
So how do they figure out the cost? The formula is actually pretty simple. It's your daily salary multiplied by the number of notice days you want to skip. Now, one little pro tip. Check your contract to see if salary means your basic pay or your gross pay. That little detail can make a big difference to your wallet.
Okay, let's put some numbers to this to make it super clear. Say your basic monthly salary is 20,000 rupees. If you have a 3-month notice period and you want to buy out one of those months, it's going to cost you, you guessed it, 20,000 rupees. Simple as that.
But hold on, paying cash isn't the only way to get out early. You've got other cards to play. You can try to use your unused paid vacation days to shorten the notice period. If you have a great relationship with your manager, now's the time to leverage that. You could also offer to make the handover super efficient, maybe even help find your replacement. Oh, and always ask about garden leave. That's where they pay you to stay home during your notice. It's rare, but hey, it's worth a shot. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. It's time to talk about the really critical stuff. The money, the law, and the taxes. This is the fine print, the part you absolutely, positively have to pay attention to. Here's the most important thing you need to know, especially if you're in India. There's no single nationwide law that says how buyouts have to work. It all, and I mean all, comes down to your employment contract and your company's specific policies. That contract is your Bible here. Read it carefully.
So that naturally leads to a huge question. Can your employer just say no? And the short answer is yes. They absolutely can. A buyout is a request, not a right. The company has the final decision, and they can reject it if they feel they really need you for that transition period. It's a negotiation.
Okay, taxes. This is where things get really, really interesting, and you need to listen closely. It all depends on who pays for the buyout. If you pay for it out of your own pocket, you can't deduct that amount from your taxes. But if your new employer pays for it and reimburses you, that money is considered income for you, and guess what? It's taxable. That is a massive difference you need to plan for.
All right, for our final section, let's zoom out and look at the big picture. Because this whole buyout thing isn't just a personal career hack. It's part of a much bigger shift in the world of work. We're talking about the new rules of quitting.
And this chart just says it all, doesn't it? The old standard, where everyone had a long 3-month notice period, is starting to look a bit, well, old. The new trend, especially in certain industries, is moving towards a much shorter one-month notice. The whole landscape is changing.
So why is this happening? Well, a few big things are driving this. You've got the whole Great Resignation effect, which really forced employers to rethink their rigid old policies. Hiring has become super competitive, especially for startups and tech companies that need to get people in the door fast. And honestly, being flexible about things like this is now just good employer branding. It's a perk.
So, after all that, what's the main takeaway for you? Think of a notice period buyout not just as an escape plan, but as a strategic career tool. In a job market that moves this fast, it gives you the power to control your own timeline and jump on amazing opportunities without being chained to the past.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. As the workplace just keeps evolving and flexibility becomes more and more important, is the long, mandatory notice period basically becoming obsolete? Is it a thing of the past? Something to think about as you navigate your own career?